Today's love stream is all about getting out of your own way. And my name, as I mentioned, is Becca YogaBex Cummings. So glad to be here with you. And I know a fair amount about getting in my own way and getting out of my own way. I have quite a bit of experience with getting in my own way over the years. And so that is what we're diving into today. It's a really important topic because when we aren't in that creative flow, and we're stopping the creative flow through our own behaviors, our own choices, it can be really frustrating, very, very frustrating. And sometimes we just don't have the energy. We don't have the motivation. We don't have the energy. We don't have that inspirational flow coming through us to be doing the things that we're passionate about and that we care about. And that's really depletes more and more of your life force. When you're not in that flow, it can add a whole nother layer of energy drain to it, right? So, let me tell you about my neighbor's peach tree. Art and Peggy next door have this peach tree in their front yard. And in 2015, it produced so much fruit, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of peaches, super delicious. And they brought, big grocery bags over that they had picked, and the deer ate plenty of them, but we all ate on them for a while, and they froze some. They just had so many peaches, right? And then the next year, it produced some fruit, but not very much. And the year after that, it was poor quality fruit. And then the year after that, no fruit, and it hasn't been producing fruit. And, but again, it was doing really well, and then it declined and then stopped producing fruit altogether. And that's how it can be in our lives sometimes, right? Where we have periods where we're just really productive, lots of great fruits, super delicious, juicy, yummy, healthy. And then we have other times where the fruits that we're producing don't taste that good or not the fruits that we want, or they've got worms in them or whatever. And, we've got to look at what's going on with the tree. What's going on with the tree, and also what's going on deeper underneath the surface, in the subconscious, in the roots. Okay, so what's going on in the physical realm and what's going on in the metaphysical realm, in our roots. Because that's a lot of times what causes particular kinds of fruits, poor quality fruits, or super delicious, yummy, high quality, numerous fruits. So a tree is doing well producing fruits. It's healthy, just like us. When we're in that creative flow, healthy, balanced, we're able to produce the fruits and see outcomes, and our creative projects are amazing, right? And then there's other times when something's out of balance, something's out of whack. We're not getting the nutrition we need. Maybe it's actual food nutrition that's lacking. Or maybe it's one of our primary foods that's lacking. And the primary foods are our relationships, our physical activity, our career or purpose, how we're in service to the greater good, and our spiritual connection. So when one or more of those things are out of balance, then it requires more will, more energy to even produce fruit, right? But when those things are in balance, when our relationships are healthy, when we're moving, when we're physically active at a reasonable level that works for us, everyone's different there. When we're feeding ourselves healthy, organic, nutritious, high nutritive value foods, and not, getting stuck in the realm of addictive substances or too much sugar or alcohol or whatever. When our career is fulfilling and prosperous, When we feel spiritually connected and expansive, then we're able to produce delicious, juicy, yummy peaches, fruits. But when one or more of those things, when our neurotransmitters are out of balance, when our biochemistry is out of balance, we don't have the energy. We're in depression or we're struggling with panic attacks, right? And our intuitive flow also gets out of whack because the gut brain microbiome is so key for that intuitive inspirational flow to flow through us easily and readily. So when one or more of those things are out of balance, then it either requires more energy to, get up off of our butts and do the things we want to be doing, or we just can't even do it. And then that becomes where we get frustrated with ourselves. Sometimes we add insult to injury and are too hard on ourselves. Sometimes we have limiting beliefs too. That could be another factor, right? We could have limiting beliefs that of worth or value or deservability or being good enough. And those can prevent us from doing the particular things that would create momentum towards our fruits, towards our goals, towards what we're creating. And when one of the things not to do, talked about what to do and what not to do. We're going to talk about what to do here in a moment, but what not to do when you're trying to get out of your own way or feel motivated or improve that inspirational flow is what not to do is to be hard on yourself about it, because that just makes that rut deeper. That neural pathway of being hard on yourself gets deeper. It's like on farms or ranches when it's muddy out, you have these 2-track roads. It's not gravel or anything. You're just driving on the earth, and you'll create ruts with your tires. And so what happens is the ruts get deeper and deeper. The ruts get deeper and deeper. The more you drive that road, the more you're hard on yourself, the easier it is to fall into that rut and to even get what's called high centered. You can high center your vehicle in those deep ruts. And yogis call this samskaras, or grooves in the psyches. And you can have healthy grooves, but you can also have unhealthy grooves or patterns, right? And so what the ranchers will do when it gets too deep, when those ruts get too deep and you can get high centered and then your wheels just spin, like the midsection of the vehicle just gets stuck on the grassy part in between the two ruts, is they won't drive on that part. They'll move over, one vehicle size over, they'll move over and they'll drive next to it and they'll start a new 2-track. And that's essentially what we need to do when we're in a rutted behavior, is we need to be willing to try something different, to try something new, and look at, just like with Art's peach tree next door, how it was producing fruit, like almost too much fruit, right? And then it started declining. So we had to look at what's going on with the tree. How can we treat the health and improve the health of the tree? So he applied some herbicides, and some herbicides that you could apply to procrastination issue or self-sabotage issues or just distraction issues, getting overwhelmed or just keeping yourself distracted. Like maybe you're getting things done, but it's not anything that's leading towards some of your big goals that you have. We need to look at what sort of treatments, I'll just call them herbicides. What sort of herbicides can we apply to improve the health? Not that you want to douse yourself in chemicals, but and there's 3 categories I've come up with over the years: movement, meditation, music. Okay, so movement. What sort of movement gets you out of your head into the heart? What sort of music gets you out of your head into the heart? What sort of movement, music, meditation? So meditation, what sort of meditations do you enjoy? because we need to, we're stuck, right? We're stuck up here. We're stuck in a pattern. We're high centered on those deep track ruts of being in a particular pattern, whether that's procrastination or self-sabotage or distraction, not feeling motivated or inspired, or as we talked about last week or the week before, perfectionism, like imbalanced perfectionism can keep you from bringing things to completion as well, because you're always improving it, because things can always be improved, right? It can always be tweaked or modified, or it's not quite done yet. And there's some sort of fear underlying that. There's also could be some sort of judgment on yourself about worth, about good enough, about value, about deservability. And these are all things that we're going to be exploring in more detail, because creativity as humans is like the breath. Like we need it to thrive and feel alive and feel connected to why we're here, our purpose, and fulfill our purpose. And it's not always, like painting a painting. Creativity can be anything. Creativity can be making something in the kitchen. It can be anything at all. It can be writing a book. It can be writing music, right? It can be creating your master class, whatever lights you up, right? So think about, we'll dive into this more this weekend on Saturday, but think about right now, what sort of activities light you up, bring you joy, things that you can do, things that you do that where you lose track of time, where all of a sudden an hour's gone by and you have no idea where it went. And it could be reading a book too. Oftentimes that brings great joy as well. It's very relaxing. Things that bring you joy, things that relax you, things that get you out of the head and into the heart. So again, I mentioned movement, music, meditation. I would put, reading a book is a form of meditation because you're focusing. So the basic idea is focusing on things that bring you joy, that get you out of here, or rather relume heart, body, mind, spirit, right? And so a big one for me is playing with my animals. I play with the dogs or play with the cats. That's sort of movement. Okay, play. Walking, love to go walking and hiking and just be outside in general. Used to run. Some of you might be runners. And I occasionally go for runs, not too often anymore. Yoga, it's a great form of movement, right? Dancing, put on some music you enjoy and dance. Breath work is also a form of movement. Breathing in and breathing out. And especially lengthening that exhale, lengthening the exhale, filling back up, lengthening out the exhale, really letting go and releasing, right? Even sighing, making a sound. Music, listening to music, putting on music that you love, that you enjoy, making playlists or just putting on an album, listening to an album like we used to do. Playing music, even better, because you've got movement and the music element, right? And drumming. Drumming is wonderful. Everyone can drum. If you have a heartbeat, you have rhythm. Even if you think you can't drum, I guarantee you can. And meditation, guided meditations. There's so many great guided meditations out there these days. So you can do guided meditation. You can just sit in meditation. Of course, you can just sit in meditation, focus on the breath, focus on being present, clear things out, just be with yourself. You can do guided meditations. I do a drumming meditation where I combine, I'm drumming, so there's music, there's movement, right? And then I add in the breath. I add in a particular breathing style while I play a particular rhythm. and focus on sustaining the rhythm. It's not a super complicated rhythm, but it's not a beginner's rhythm. So it's, there's some presence needed that can't go on automatic pilot, right? We want to avoid the automatic pilot going on. We want to be, have our hands on the wheel here. And so I'll do that mother rhythm meditation, which is like a waltz. It's hitting in the center of the drum and then 2 hits on the edge. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I'll combine a 6 count breath, inhale, 6 counts, and then exhale 6 counts with that. Okay, so it's complicated enough where I can't go, if I do go on automatic pilot, sometimes I lose it. Sometimes I either lose track of where I'm at in the breathing, or sometimes the rhythm falls apart. So it's a really great thing for me to ground me in the present moment. Basically, what sort of activities, whether that's in the realm of music, meditation, or movement, really light you up and bring you into the now, where you lose track of time. Jot those down right now and make time for those things. Those can be your go-to things when you're looking at your to-do list or thinking about it in your head as to what you're going to do next. What would be, maybe you do a pattern interrupt with one of these behaviors, with one of these activities first, to kind of move the energy, because that's what we're doing here. We're moving stuck energy, recirculating it so that we have more life force energy. We're moving blocks to that life force energy and inspiration flowing through us. Or maybe it's making a healthy snack first before you go on to the next action step. And what is one tiny step you could do towards a bigger goal? Because sometimes we make these goals that are so big. We have this fruit that we want to grow that's so big. It's like a big giant watermelon, right? But we don't, and we planted the seed, but we're trying to figure out, how to make it grow. It feels overwhelming to grow something that big. Some of our limiting stuff can come up, limiting beliefs, or sometimes it's parts. Like part of you really wants to grow that fruit and feels so inspired and excited about it, but you continue to not do the things that would grow the fruit, like water the seeds, right? Etc. So getting out of the head into the heart. So part of you wants to maybe grow that fruit, right? And then there's another part that trips you up. And those are active parts. It's not really a limiting belief. Those are 2 different parts of you. Parts in the extreme are multiple personalities. And we all have parts. All of us have many parts. It's like you have 2 selves within you. One part of you is fired up, motivated, growing that watermelon or growing those peaches. And the other part of you is, freezing them, freezing the tree, freezing the plant, stopping the growth, digging up the seeds, even actively sometimes, right? And it can be really frustrating because you have this part. You know what it feels like to be in flow, to be inspired, to be excited, to be passionate about your goals. But then sometimes, some moments, you find that this other part is active. And so that's something we'll talk about this weekend as well, during how to leave procrastination station and hop aboard the creativity Choo-Choo. That is this Saturday. It is a workshop that I'm putting on, special workshop. And we are going to, let me find my notes here. We are going to get to these root issues, right? What are the root issues that keep you sitting at procrastination station? Or maybe it's overwhelm station or whatever it is, but you're not on the creativity Choo-Choo, right? So what are the root issues? that keep you stuck, that keep you feeling frustrated with yourself. And you're going to learn some cutting edge tips and tricks for feeling motivated. You're actually going to learn a resource anchor, or install. You're going to install a physical resource anchor that you can fire. It'll look like a hand position that you can fire to be totally motivated, even when you may not feel like you have the energy. So you're going to learn install a resource anchor that you can fire anytime you need to, so that you're motivated, inspired, and feeling more creative, which helps us feel fulfilled, right? Choo-choo. And there will be some bonuses. We'll do a giveaway, of course, like I usually do. So that is this weekend, this Saturday, 10 a.m. to noon. Ah, my thing's falling over. Stop. I got a balancing act going in here. I'm in my yoga studio instead of in my office, still finishing up painting my office. But let me grab that link for you as to how, actually it's just on the front page of the All About Woo website. So if that workshop this weekend sounds interesting, you can read more about it here on the allaboutwoo.com website. I think that link will take you there. Might have to put the HTTPS. There we go. And so yeah, what are the roots of why isn't your peach tree producing hundreds and hundreds of peaches, right? Is it purely a physical issue, or is there a metaphysical issue going on, or a combination, right? I definitely had combinations in my life too. So is it worthiness issue, enoughness, deservability, right? Or are you just simply lacking the energy? Is there something going on physically where you just don't have the energy, right? And what sort of pain points, what sort of things come up for you what sort of fears or judgments come up for you when you think about achieving your goal? Because we can have fear of success too. It's not always fear of failure. I've failed many, 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 many times. I don't really have a fear of failure. I don't have too many fears anymore. Fear of success, I probably have some fear of success still, because what I am visioning, what I am creating is huge. It's kind of scary huge. And so you want your goal to be, to scare you a little bit, but not so much that you're not ever going to work on it, right? So it needs to be within the realm of possibility for you, maybe a little bit scary, right? Not crazy scary. And let it be, pick something when you're outlining a goal. It needs to be big enough that you'll be inspired to take action towards it, right? So we also want to identify why. Why is that important to you? And that's, again, something we'll touch on this weekend, is your why. Why do you want to create? Why do you want to grow these peaches? Who do you want to feed with the peaches? And schedule time for those activities, those one or more activities you jotted down of things that get you out of the head and into the heart, things you love to do where you lose track of time. Maybe it's needle pointing, maybe it's quilting, it can be singing. I know Sarah Jean is a musician, so playing music, singing, playing with the animals, meditation. Some people just love to, sit and meditate. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's yoga. I love yoga. Maybe it's going for a run. That one for me, I don't lose track of time too much. I'm more like how long have I been running? But it definitely gets energy moving, right? The main thing is we want to get stuck energy moving and stop living from here up, so that we're living all completely embodied, right? So we're not just a head. The body is part of it. The heart is part of it. Our body is not just there to carry our head around from place to place, our brain around, right? It's so much more than that. So schedule those self-care activities. Think of this time as self-care, self-love. You know, get that energy moving, get that energy recirculating, get out of the head, get into the heart, and consider the health of your primary foods, your relationships, your spiritual connection, your physical activity, in your career or service purpose, as well as your food. Do you have a biochemical issue going on? Do you have a physical issue going on, like Art's peach tree, where it has some sort of physical dis-ease going on that needed treatment with some herbicides to try to save the tree? And they're still trying to figure out exactly what's going on with it, but they're looking at the whole tree. They're looking at the leaves. It's not producing fruit anymore at all, so they can't look at the fruit, but they look at the leaves, the branches, the trunk, and the roots as well. So are the roots, where are the roots located? What's going on? And that, again, is something that we're going to be diving into more this weekend during the workshop, 10 a.m. to noon. If you can't be there for live for the workshop, it will be recorded, so you can still enroll. It's $17. And you can go ahead and sign up on the allaboutwoo.com website. I know some of you have already signed up, so super excited to see you this Saturday. And if you can't be there live, it is recorded. Everyone that signs up will get a copy of the recording, so you can always do it later. It'd be great if you could be there live, but I know everybody's schedules are different, and you can do it when you can that way.